Is everyone good to go? Okay, great. Morning. Are there any announcements that anyone has? Yes, Anne.
Who watches Jeopardy?
Oh.
Wasco Lake was referenced
Oh,
on
really?
national television. And Otisco. So just to let you know, we're infamous.
What was the clue?
Finger Lake.
Oh, okay, so they
only gave two.
okay, Owasco and Otisco. Did anyone get it? Well, oh my gosh.
Anyways, a little bit of,
Did any of the contestants get it?
one of her.
Yeah, one, yeah,
It's amazing.
okay.
Jeopardy.
Oh, we're good. We got plenty more.
Yeah.
Let's
start off right.
It's really sad. That's great. I love when like local references pop up. My daughter goes to bed at 8 o'clock now. It was 7:30, so we would put her down and then we would watch Jeopardy, me and my husband after. But now she goes to bed at 8, and so
I'll tape it.
we can never watch it anymore. So the last thing I want to do is give her any sort of screen time immediately prior to bed. So
That's right.
that would be bad. She doesn't do screens very well. So, okay. Anyways, thanks for the announcement. That is exciting. Old business. Does anyone have any additional changes to the minutes, or otherwise I'll take a motion to approve those? Thanks, Seth.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I want to touch base on our long discussion we had last week about, let's call it revitalizing, WQMA a little bit for those that weren't available and didn't listen to anything after the fact, or, second, or read the minutes or whatever. We talked about changing meeting schedule to every other month or quarterly or whatever. And we decided at that point in time not to, because it means a change in the bylaws, which means going through a lot of steps. So we'll cancel as needed if there's things that are coming up the following month. But as of right now, we're going to keep it monthly, but we did feel it was important to give a little bit of an update or a debrief rather to the legislature about WQMA and who it assists and represents and what we do. So we're hoping to get on the agenda for one of the next full ledge meetings in June or July, maybe. They can't do May because they already have a couple other bigger presentations scheduled. So Seth and Adam are going to help with that. And we'll give a brief update on the Owasco Lake 9-element plan implementation as well. So it'll be a really quick 10-minute presentation. And then we also made a request to the chair of the legislature to assign a liaison of sorts from the legislature that can come attend our meetings periodically and then give it information back to the legislature. So they just so very rarely talk about water quality, and I think most of them are newer at this point, or at least some of them are newer at this point and don't know that WQMA even exists. So we had also requested some testimonials from WQMA members on what the organization means to you and how it benefits you. So if you haven't gotten that to Michelle, it would be really great if you could do that. Sometime.
I used Adam's for the blog
Yes.
this month. Thank you, Adam.
I did notice that, yeah. So I sent a testimonial in, and I don't know if anyone else did. You did?
Yep.
Great, awesome. Thanks, Pat. So if you're interested, that would be really helpful. And then we can post it on our website, make blog posts about it, let the legislature know that it does have an impact, even if they aren't super aware of its goings on, whatever. So yeah, just a little update on that tidbit. So if nothing else, I'll move on to new business. Anyone have any new business?
I just want to
You got, can you guys online here?
Can now. We'd lost it. I was about to send you
oh,
a note that said we couldn't, but it's back.
Okay, the question was about the new boater safety courses. Does anybody have any, what was it? Any ideas?
don't you have to do it every 90 days?
Pardon?
Aren't you supposed to do it every 90 days?
So it's a one.
Oh, it's one
done.
Okay.
After that, but then a lot of people stopped doing it. So I don't think the sheriff department has anybody right now that's certified through New York State to teach. There are, the ones are.
Is that
free
better?
Online. They're further down in the
Oh,
people.
That's working.
Just gotta find them. There are freebies.
Yeah.
So, but that's probably quite honestly, the easiest thing, because you could stop and start
Yeah.
anytime you want, instead of spending 8 hours,
Hours
12
on
hours.
Saturday, yeah.
Then it's all day Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, 'cause I did sign up for it online once, it said free, and I got, after the first lesson, okay, your first lesson's free. You want the next 7, it's $39.95. So, but it is easier to do, because I hate the thought of spending a whole day Saturday,
Yeah.
doing it, but, I could sit down in the afternoon and do 1 or 2 lessons, and knock it off. I've got about half done in 2 sessions, so. I just wonder what other people were doing.
Are you guys online okay now? There was some setting on, I think might have been causing an issue.
Yeah, the sound seems back now.
Yeah, we can hear it now. It just seemed like every time you moved the computer, it turned off.
There was some noise suppression thing on, and I think it was causing it to go in and out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pat. Okay. Updates from the Communications and Outreach Working Committee group. Whatever.
Well, so like Michelle said, we do have our blog that we look for post monthly. This month, thanks to Adam, we got this little testimonial up. And then we'll be working on our June newsletter, which is this invasive species theme.
Yeah, we want to try to get it early.
Yeah, so if anybody has anything, any articles around invasive species that they'd like to get included, send those over to Michelle, because we want to try to hit that so it's ready to go for right at the beginning of June.
Yeah, Invasive Species Awareness Week is the 9th.
Yeah.
Starts on the 9th.
May 9th?
June.
Sorry. I'm like, May 9th is not a Monday. Okay, that kind of covers the invasive species working group, or does it?
I
Do you
was,
have other stuff?
for invasive species, I was wondering if anybody wanted at the next WQMA meeting, just a quick run through of major aquatic and
Yes.
terrestrial invasive species.
I'd love to see your plans.
Okay. So I'll schedule that for next month.
Okay, great. Okay. Agency reports, I don't have too much in addition to what I presented last month, just about kicking off summer and just activity picking up on the lakes and algae season. And thankfully, I'm not going to be around during HAB season, so good luck, everyone.
Is there still money available for this?
Yes, yep. The septic replacement grant program is still very much so available. We're sending out information on that this week or next week, like a postcard to all eligible properties. People may receive it that have already applied, but it was easier to just send it out to the full lot. And over time, we've gotten over 130 applications. And or awarded over 130 projects or grant funds, but not all of them have been constructed. But we're up in like the 70s or 80s for systems that have been replaced or upgraded, so that's pretty good. And yeah, we're on the hydrilla task force for Cayuga Lake again this year, and we'll be posting results for those sampling efforts on our environmental health department website, with help from the planning department. And yeah, for me. Is Doug around, or?
Doug sent me a Teams that he'll be on later.
Okay.
And Emily Fell sent some information on how to get certified, so I'll send that out to the group after the meeting for the boat.
Okay, planning department.
I'm the representative today.
Figured.
I'd like everybody to meet Natalie. She's our new planner in the office.
Hello, Natalie. Welcome.
So the quality assurance project plan for the Owasco Lake Tributary Sampling Project was approved by the New York State DEC. We held a training session for the volunteers on April 14th. Natalie and I delivered clean boating on Cayuga Lake maps to a couple of marinas, the Village of Union Springs, Aurora, and a Long Point State Park. Printing of these maps was funded by FLOPA. If anybody wants to see them, I have a copy around here somewhere.
Thank you.
I'm working through the contracts for CSI to do the Cayuga Lake Tributary Program and the HABs monitoring program. The HABs monitoring program includes the HABs Harriers volunteer efforts and some algal bloom monitoring. And I'm working with the 9E Coordination Committee on an implementation report for work done between 2022 and the present. And then for the planning department, we've begun the countywide Brownfields Opportunities Area Project and the countywide strategic plan project. Does anybody have any questions?
Thanks, Michelle. Soil and water, Tim, what have you guys been up to?
Yep, just trying to get ready for the boat season coming up. You guys been working on repairs. We got our folks back from the shop for a few things, so that's been going well. We've been working up in Brutus. Brutus is installing a new town hall building, so we've been installing the stormwater, water and sediment control practices related to that project. So now that the weather's a little bit better, we've been able to grade the landscape with our dozer, which has been nice. It's been kind of an interesting site. It's an old railroad abutment. It's a lot of trash, a lot of brush, a lot of just interesting soil. So it's been pretty soupy stuff. So it's been nice to finally get some dry ground. We're working on fire lane still. Got one in the works right now down in fire lane 21 on the east side. Just started that a couple weeks ago. It's been on and off just with the weather. A couple projects down in Moravia that are scheduled, and then once we get into the stream permitting season, we're going to start doing some stream work. We're working with Adam and his team. Then I got a couple other projects lined up with Cayuga County Highway Department. So we're in full swing for that side of the office. They had a Envirothon yesterday for the area, so that went well. Our tree sale, I believe, is orders have closed for pre-sale. So the tree sale will be on the 9th, Friday the 9th. There will be an overstock sale, so if anybody's interested in that, there will be trees available. Hydro seeder is out, so if you guys run into anybody looking for hydro seeding for towns, feel free to send them our way. Other than that, I think business as usual.
Very busy.
Mhm. Thank you. Okay, solid waste management program update, Evan.
Really not much to update you guys on. I think I mentioned it last meeting, but we have a tire collection and recycling event coming up. So that's Saturday, June 7th. So it's really any kind of tire, as long as it's no larger than 36 inches in diameter. No registration required, and that's going to be right here. That's it.
Thanks. Did you see what the legislature said
We did.
the other day?
Yeah.
About, yeah. Do you wanna enlighten everyone?
Sure, yeah. So the county legislature passed a resolution supporting the closure of the Seneca Meadows landfill. To my knowledge, though, there's still really no update on the application for their expansion. I just know that the town of Seneca, or the village of Seneca Falls approved their operating permit, so they're just waiting on the DEC for their decision.
So much for its closure by, what was it, 2022 or something, or 2020, whatever it was?
Yeah, I don't remember.
It's been a while.
So what do you think is gonna happen?
I really don't know. My only concern is that if it does close, then I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know where the next nearest landfill is, because Ontario County is also set to close before the end of the decade. So then I think just costs for transporting waste that's collected here is just going to go up. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, they mentioned at the legislative meeting, they mentioned that part of the solid waste plan was to move toward more waste reduction in a more aggressive way.
Mm-hmm.
Is there such a plan in development?
So the county has a local solid waste management plan that was approved by the DEC, but really the only strategies that the county is pursuing is education and outreach, as well as like maintaining our recycling events that we do throughout the year. Other than that, there's really been no like push towards more investment in waste reduction in the county.
Thanks, Evan. Okay, Cornell Cooperative Extension.
We're kind of in our pivot from some of our winter programs to more of our summertime activities. So with a lot of our, what we do with farms this time of year moves to more one-on-one sort of troubleshooting when they have a problem with a weed or something. They'll give Frank a call. And we've got a lot of horticulture programs going on right now. Been working with Seymour Library on a couple. We have a seed library that we've been working on with them, and doing some other like a container gardening workshop. And that's pretty much it. Other than we're trying to figure out still what the announced funding cuts to Cornell University might mean to us locally, but no clarity on that yet.
Okay, Frank, anything to add? No?
We're just starting our ag stuff, setting moth traps, scouting for weeds, some new invasive pests we found last year we'll be scouting for. So
Which ones?
It's called the corn leaf poplar.
Do I have to worry about that in my own little
No, you don't. You probably don't
hobby
have to worry
farm?
probably don't have to worry about it at all this year, but we'll be out looking for it, just in
Okay.
case.
Just in case.
Where is it now?
It's just southern problem. I think there was just a perfect storm of storms that pushed them forward, a warm winter that allowed them to get this far north.
Last year?
I think with the winter we had this year, I don't expect it up here, but who knows? That's what we'll be at.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, good. Nothing to worry about on my 2 4x8 raised beds that will not be bearing corn this year.
I will promise your 4x8 raised beds are gonna be okay from the corn leaf up.
From the corn leaf hopper
Anything else?
specifically.
No promise.
Yes. Okay, thanks. City of Auburn.
So the city has been moving forward with our lead service line inventory grant that we received to identify every single service that goes from our service main into the home. About half of our 8,000 service cards were lacking information to make that a complete inventory, resulting in us having to send out public notifications. We're utilizing GIS as our what's the word for it? Kind of our platform for not only the public, but also for our staff as we start to work through that inventory process, going through all of our unknown service lines. And as we identify what the material type is, real time, our staff will be able to update that in GIS, which will then in turn update a map for public viewing. That's our ultimate goal, is to get to a place where any resident within the city of Auburn can access a GIS map, zoom in on their individual property, click on their property, and the full service line inventory will be available for them to view. We'll have that up by this fall is our goal. All of the information of every single service won't be complete by this fall, but everyone will have access to that information in that manner. We're in the process right now of receiving pricing from our contractors at our wastewater treatment plant around our overflow retention facility upgrades. Fairly significant additional investment required. It's part of the grant funding that we received from the state of New York and the federal government through the bipartisan infrastructure law that we're able to secure before the craziness at the federal level. So money has been flowing into the city as a result of that program, and we anticipate that to continue. No news yet on future funding and future bipartisan infrastructure law dollars, but I'm sure we'll find out about that in the coming months. From a solid waste standpoint, hearing about Seneca Meadows' potential closing is concerning to the city, at least from our perspective. That's a significant future cost for Auburn residents, future cost for our management of biosolids at our wastewater treatment plant. Right now, we spend right around $1.4 million in hauling our biosolids from Auburn to either Ontario landfill, which is the less expensive route, around $80 a ton, or to Seneca Meadows at $150 a ton, substantially higher. But without those outlets, likely those costs will be in the 200 plus per ton regime. And one of the reasons why we proactively sought biosolids reduction and hope to be able to create a Class A biosolid that we can find another market for that is either low or no cost for the city of Auburn. But with all the things around PFAS and other emerging contaminants, a lot of that hangs in the balance too. So we're busy ramping up for construction season this year. And from the Wasco Lake standpoint, moving forward with our sub-watershed assessment, waiting on some contract details with our consultant EA Engineering right now as they work to get their MWBE SDVOB, which is a minority and woman-owned business, and service veteran disabled business goals met or waiver sought as part of the state funding requirements for grants. So, picking away.
Sounds good. Thanks, Steph. Ed, kind of Wasco.
We just signed our contract to start our sewer water separation new project, so we should start construction for the ordering the cement stuff, and probably start in 6 to 8 weeks.
Nice. That'll be done this year, right? Hopefully.
Except for the roads. The roads won't be until probably next spring.
Okay. Great. All right, Lake Association reports. Cayuga. Keith is online. Do we have any? I haven't been able to see who else is online, but Keith, go ahead.
Yeah, just very quickly. So we're in the middle of our Embrace the Lake program, which is the lakeshore and area cleanup. We've got about 10 groups active so far, and so if there's anyone in Cayuga County, the Associated WQMA is interested, we can provide, gear and supplies and that kind of thing to the volunteers, to the crew. This is also, we're coming up and we're going to be doing this in collaboration with Wasco and other the lake watershed associations, the Lake Friendly Living Month. That's in process of, I think that's in June, maybe. And so they're in the process of the putting together programs for that. And then finally, what we used to call our spring conference, and now we're just calling the North End Community Conference, which is in Cayuga every year. That's coming up in late June or early July. That program's coming together now. And again, it's not too late. If someone has suggestions about things we need to do, just let Liz know, or you can let me know and I'll pass it on to Liz. We're involved in the hydrilla efforts too, and we'll be interested to see how that develops. Given all of the changes in the focus, it's not clear to me what direction the state's going to be going in. There is going to be, of course, continued effort, but we'll see exactly how that all plays out. So that's it for us.
Thanks, Keith. Cross Lake.
I've got stuff too.
Okay.
For you. So I guess probably the most interesting one. We will have an in-person meeting in May. It'll be at the Wells Golf Club, the Wells College Golf Club, on May 28th at 3 p.m. Luke Scannell, who's the Region 8 DC, I believe he's the stormwater engineer. He will be presenting on the stormwater design manual, which got, I think, like last July. But that presentation will count for 30 minutes worth of planning board credits, training credits. So if any of your town planning boards need some credits, that's a pretty easy way to get them. And then on my end, we'll be applying for a planning grant in collaboration with the Seneca Lake Watershed IO to do a bunch of small stormwater projects in both watersheds.
Thank you. Okay, Lake Como.
Well, we're still waiting for final decision from DEC on our wetland permit. Last I got back in the first part of April was that they had all of the necessary paperwork to approve our permit, but it has to go out for a 15-day comment period. I think the 15 days ran out last week. I sent a couple of emails to Donald Glasgow, who's heading it up, and haven't gotten a response back about whether or not we're officially approved yet, but we've gone ahead and signed a contract with Solitude to do the treatment this year with the caveat that as long as we get that permit. We started doing the other permitting to do that, sent out letters to everybody. Our plan is to hopefully do some treatment this year. So hopefully I'll keep you posted on what we're gonna do. We'd like to do it in June sometime. We did have some major work done on our weed harvester. We took the whole front end off and took it up to Alpha Boat Works where they make all the weed harvesters. And they basically rebuilt the whole thing to about $12,000. So we'll be putting that back together and hopefully getting out and using that to help control some of the weeds. Our beavers still become a problem. You know, our lake is, I hear some of the other lakes are low, but ours is high because of the beavers, and there are just too many of them to get after, so we're just having to live with it. And I'm just, like I said earlier, we're trying to figure out how to, you know, get some classes for the boater safety class, and just making announcements probably just to, sounds like, you know, the easiest thing to do is just do it online, everybody do it individually. That's about all I have.
Okay.
Gail, just as a follow-up to that, the fire chief said that he has been in correspondence with a trainer trying to set up some dates at the Auburn Fire Department right in the city. So
You let me know when the
once I
dates.
get those dates, I'll kick them over to Michelle and she can
Send some
toss
out.
them out
Okay.
to everyone.
Thank you. I did receive your guys' application for milfoil treatment
Yeah,
yesterday from DEC.
well, they did send something out.
Yes, they did.
Okay. He hasn't gotten back to me with it.
Okay. It's essentially the requests for it's your permit application
Okay.
for the Priscilla Corey C.
Yeah.
So I'll actually fill out essentially any interested party or, you know, health department, whatever, can say that they oppose or support the application, and no response is support. So I usually don't respond, but I'll respond to this one supporting it. So it will hopefully
Okay, yeah.
go through sooner. How's that sound?
I think that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
You know, that, I'm assuming that, I'm hoping that, you know, this thing was out on the DEC website, I guess, and I looked it up, and it's a 15-day comment period, so I'm just hoping that nobody makes any comments and opposes it. But I haven't heard anything back from them yet.
Okay. Well, the applications were sent out for comment, so at least it didn't show up on the environmental news bulletin yesterday, I don't think, which is probably what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
But maybe next week it will.
No, it was on there, because I looked it up.
Oh, was it on
Yeah,
there? Okay.
because I looked it up a week or two ago, and it was there. I think it's listed under, you know, Gary Lansdowne property or something instead of Lake Como.
Okay.
He's gonna fix that after the comment period.
Okay.
Say Lake Como.
Sounds good. All right. Let me add that. Underline. All right. Owasco Lake.
Yes, thank you. So, with the Owasco Watershed Lake Association, our volunteers are committing to a number of activities this coming season. For trip sampling, we have started that program. We do have 8 sites this year, and thank you to Adam with your support in transferring those samples on to the ELAP certified lab. For our hemlock woolly adelgid, I am hearing good reports of trees that were treated 2 years ago, showing excellent growth or signs of growth this year. And we are training some new volunteers for that program. For the harmful algal bloom, as you know, we have different zones around the lake, and we are building on broadening the depth of our volunteers to take on those zones. That will start in July. For C-SLAP, we have returning volunteers for that program and grateful for all that they do. ALA has been approached for a fairly large size private grant or donation, and I appreciate those in this room that have been coming together with the subcommittee, looking at projects that might be viable to apply the $100,000 towards. For activities, May is National Water Month. We are participating in our Lake Friendly Living event, again, with the Management Council. We will have support from CSI for this activity. It will be at Emerson Park on Saturday, May 17th, from 1 until 5. And another activity that you all are welcome to will be our June 18th event at the Yacht Club at 5 o'clock, just promoting all that ALA is doing along the lake and bringing attention to the significance of keeping our water quality for our community alive. So that is that. And I apologize, I realize now we did not have anyone here last month representing ALA, and I will be working on a testimonial, okay, to give to you. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Anne. Okay, I don't see anyone for Skinny Atlas. Okay.
I know they're still working on their 9-element plan. It's almost at the approval stage.
Okay. All right. I don't see Aaron on either. I don't see anything for Prism, right? Oh.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, I can give a
Okay.
quick thing. Hold on. Sam said they are hiring for stewards still. I don't know if he means just watercraft stewards or if most of the seasonal positions are still open. If you go to their website or the HWS employment website, you can find what's open and what's not. And he also says that the spring partner meeting is next week on the 7th. They will be doing a macrophyte survey training at the end of the meeting, and that's on campus. Again, I think if you go to the website, there's probably more details about where that is and exact time.
All set? Okie dokie. Finger Lakes Water Program Report, did they change the name of that, or are they doing something with that, or?
The hub is now.
Oh, is this is the new
That used to
name?
be and Emily's on.
Oh, okay. Oh, hi, Emily, sorry.
Hi, I'm, with the Great Lakes program, but we coordinate with the Finger Lakes program too. We have our upcoming work group meeting on the 6th for the Southeast Lake Ontario Subbasin. That's going to be in Sodus Point, and I can share the registration info if anyone's interested, or shoot me an email at emily.fell@dec.my.gov. Also planning on going to the Healthy Water Solutions Conference in May. That's going to be in Syracuse. If anyone's seen that, that's the 20th to 22nd at the ESF Gateway Center. And we also have this, DECC grant, New York Great Lakes Small Grants grant still open through tomorrow if you're interested in applying to that to support the implementation of the Great Lakes Action Agenda. And I think there'll be more on the Finger Lakes Action Agenda soon. We have a new program staff, Gabriel Yurden, who is helping with that. And Tony Prestigiacomo got promoted to the chief of Watershed Research and Implementation. So congrats to Tony, and we'll be continuing to work together. Let me know if you have any questions.
That is quite the job title. Lots of long words. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Is anyone here attending that conference at ESF in a couple weeks? I sent it to you. You're planning on going. It seemed interesting, honestly. The agenda wasn't bad. I reached out and asked them if they were offering PE credits, and I never got a response. So I'm going to assume that that's a no since it's a free conference. Yeah, so that's why I sent it around to a couple people. But you're going to it? Are you nodding?
Considering it.
Okay. I'm considering going for one day anyways, but we'll see how the month goes. So, okay, great. And Adam.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Our 2024 Inspection Division report has gone to print. So perhaps by the next WQMA meeting, I may have some copies to distribute among those who are interested. Council staff will be presenting an annual status update to the City of Auburn next Thursday during their City Council meeting. That's May 8th. And we've requested, as we have in previous years, that the City of Auburn's annual proclamation in support of lake-friendly living be given on that date during that council meeting. They will also make mention of the scope and schedule of the event this year at Emerson Park with details that Ann mentioned earlier. In collaboration with the planning department and Michelle and Natalie, I hope management council staff will help facilitate Moravia High School's Moravia Gives Back Day. And that will be on May 19th, whereby students will help with trail maintenance activities at the management council's Fillmore Nature Preserve. We are also working on closing on a second land preserve in the town of Venice. This parcel was gifted by the Nature Conservancy to the Management Council for stewardship, and that property was acquired under the New York State REQIP land acquisition grant. So that's their water quality improvement project category. The 9-element plan coordination committee, that's our clean water plan, really implementation committee that's seeking to coordinate projects and programs for implementation of the recommended features of the plan. That group is working towards finalizing its progress report, and Michelle made mention of that earlier, and she is really has taken a lead on that project, so thanks to Michelle for that. Tim alluded to the Owasco Inlet stream restoration, or I should say stream bank stabilization project that we're working on, collaborating with the district on. We'll really go into full-fledged construction and implementation this summer. So we look forward to that once the permitting dates allow us to get into the stream to start doing the work. We look forward to that effort. Seth mentioned that the City of Auburn's HUC 12 for Owasco, the HUC 12 Stream Corridor Assessment Grant, for which they've decided on their consulting firm. So that'll be interesting. We're happy to help with that project as it moves forward, of course. We recently have our 2024 financial audit and tax accounting in order from sort of an administrative standpoint. So that's always good for us, and it's required for us to stay in good standing with New York State. I think this is probably an interesting feature for the collective here. The Harmful Algal Bloom Monitoring and Prevention Act. This is a bill that was spearheaded by Senator May's office that was reintroduced under the 2025 legislative session, and it has been an associated hearing has been scheduled among the majority leader in the Senate, and that hearing will be held on May 21st. So I know they're holding seats available for those who are interested in participating in that hearing. And otherwise, Ani mentioned at the start of this meeting that we'll be looking to present with the Cayuga County Legislature, so I'm happy to help support that effort, providing scope on the WQMA in terms of our efforts and membership, and a small update on the status of the 9-element plan implementation work for Owasco. I got one more point that came to mind is we observed earlier this week that the educational kiosk on Route 38 in Moravia, down near the southern end of the lake, really the south end of West Lake Road there, blew over in the windstorms that we had recently. And that kiosk was very deteriorated. The panels were salvaged by Cayuga County Parks and Trails, and they currently exist at their office. And so we're considering what we might do to replace that educational kiosk, perhaps update the panels. The lot where that kiosk is situated is the lot for the kayak launch, I believe, that is just down, no, not the kayak launch.
It's the trails.
It's sort of a trailhead there, okay. So anyway, so, you know, it's, I think it would be a nice opportunity for perhaps a, you know, a foundation grant or otherwise to try to get that kiosk up and usable once again. So that's all I had. I'm happy to answer any questions. Oh, I had one suggestion, by the way, is for the agendas, I was thinking for Isaac's, for Quio's presentation, maybe it would make sense to add them under the partner reports. You know, as the intermunicipal organization for Owasco, that's where the management council reports. Of course, we don't have membership like the Lake Association does on WQMA, and you don't really fit under the categories earlier on the agenda, but maybe that would make it less awkward for Isaac when he presents with us.
I'm fine with that.
Good suggestion.
Cool. Thanks. All right. That
I have a
concludes.
question, I have a couple questions.
Yes.
That popped up. Next meeting, I know in our last meeting, we talked about trying to potentially look at a different format or different location. Right. Sunnyside Farms being one of them, maybe Cornell Cooperative Extension being another. Is that still?
I haven't heard from anybody offering. I know they offered at the meeting, but it was kind of left up in the air.
We can do that. My guess is Greg's gonna be a little busy for the next 6 weeks or so. So we can do it at extension in June.
To check out your new digs?
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
have,
The
it'll
old
be-
office there.
It'll,
Do you have a
You'll-
room we
you'll
can
be
all fit?
shocked.
I'll be shocked, yeah.
yes.
am I gonna be able to do a presentation there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all equipped.
Send out directions, hopefully.
It's right on Grand Ave, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we can.
Yeah,
add
but we can
directions.
add the.
Yes, we will provide an address.
Physical address.
A physical address. You can Google Map, you can pin it, you can memorize which way how to get there from Como, or you can do whatever. Yeah, we'll make sure that goes.
It's probably closer for you.
Yeah, couple
Maybe.
minutes,
Couple minutes.
couple minutes closer.
My other question,
Yes.
I noticed right before this meeting that TDC announced 60 million for stormwater flood resilience
I saw that.
funding.
Mhm.
When is the last time Cayuga County did like a countywide flood resilience plan, or have we not done something like that?
Just what's in the hazard mitigation plan.
So it's part of kind of the hazard. I'm just curious if that's something that, I know the city hasn't really done much in terms of that, and that was one of the opportunities I brought up in one of our last kind of management discussions was we have a sewer fund, water fund, and general fund, and oftentimes our sewer maintenance crews will assist with storm catch basins, extensions, or dealing with flooding issues, but it's really not 100% a good allocation of sewer funds, right? That should kind of come out of a general fund or something different. So we often as a municipality lack a little bit of focus and attention to stormwater mitigation, drainage issues, things like that. Because we don't really have a focused department in that area. That's something that just kind of popped into my head as I read through that grant opportunity, was to kind of develop an outline or a shell of citywide comprehensive stormwater plan of sorts, but then beyond that, what does the county have and what do we think about that as a concept?
And Bruce was the county floodplain
We have
manager.
a floodplain manager as well within the city. He's a code enforcement officer, but
And then when he left, it went back to EMO,
okay.
but I don't know exactly who that would be.
I know typically that's when we get the phone calls, right? It's people wondering what to do. I know oftentimes, you know, DEC has stormwater regulations, which are good. They require us, when we develop, to put in structures and facilities to manage for that peak additional flow. But after those facilities are built, subdivision's done, everything's complete, nothing tends to happen to that facility, so that the long-term maintenance is lost. And as a result, it works for the first few years and then slowly over time fills in and creates issues for us. And we don't know what to do with it because we don't really have anyone assigned to that.
Was this a grant application?
This is a grant
Because the
application,
one I was looking at was only eligible for certain locations.
flood-prone areas.
Maybe it's a different one. The one I was looking at, there was like specific, you had to have like a DEC plan.
This is for the Green Resiliency Grant.
Yeah,
Flood-prone communities across New York.
You might be thinking of the Bond Act stuff, Michelle.
Is that the one that
Because that's the one that you do need, like, this would be, if you got the plan through this, the GRG grant, you could get Bond Act money then with your plan.
Yeah,
That's a pretty good
it says
step.
this round of green resiliency grants is funded by the $4.2 billion Clean Water, Clean Air, and Green Jobs Environmental Bond Act of 2022.
Okay, I think this is a different one because I think the one I'm thinking of was a DEC grant. This is EFC.
Yeah, the Bond Act, well, and unless they added this to it, but the original one that came out that's due like June 6th, I think, or the 9th or something like that, was, there were 2 Department of State grants and 1 DEC grant.
yeah, this one's not due till August.
Yeah, it's like the 15th or something like that.
Yeah. I just started thinking internally about my own concerns within the city of flood-prone areas and what to try to do to help residents out and to better understand our own system. But then I got thinking here, you know, why not partner or think about a larger partnership, perhaps.
I'll take a look at it.
All good?
Parting thought.
Okay.
Thanks.
I do want to add something that I forgot to mention. Talking about spreading, or not spreading, but what to do with your biosolids and your wastewater solids.
Spread 'em.
No, there's a bill has been proposed to
I saw that.
the state to put a moratorium on any spreading activities
Yes.
due to potential contamination from the perfluorinated compounds.
Right.
And potential impacts to local wells and stuff like that. So we'll see if that goes through. Individual counties are also pursuing moratoriums. Spectrum News actually did this whole big 5-part series about wastewater sludge, which was, I just happened to be watching one night and yeah, and saw that. So, and then, yeah, so now it's a proposed bill by Pete Harcum and Anna Kellis and a couple others sponsoring it. So we'll see where that goes, if anywhere. So, yeah.
Pretty certain in the watershed rules and regulations that we currently have, at least for, maybe not, maybe it was in the proposed new rules and regulations, that was one of the things that came up as an item, that, you know, no spreading of biosolids within the Owasco Lake watershed. perhaps. I don't recall specifically.
It might be in the existing ones,
Maybe.
Is it
actually. I don't think it's not considered septage, no.
No, I meant what the current law. Was it
Maybe I'm
septage, not just biosolids?
I would have to look.
Yeah. I know, at least from a biosolids standpoint, and a regulatory standpoint from classification, in order to get a Class A biosolid, there is rigorous testing, and DEC oversight of the quality of that material before it can even become classified
Yeah.
as a Class A biosolid. Other states are not quite so rigorous. I'm almost certain PFAS will be one of those new required parameters to test.
Definitely. I would imagine so, considering they're starting to have you guys look at that for point source pollution, right?
Yeah.
So, okie dokie. It's almost 11 on the dot.
You do good.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, okay. Any opposed? Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.